Villa 5-1, they were on the defense. It was pretty sublime to see. And then the decider will be the same as the last series in my mind. I think Cafe is likely to be the one that we go to. But let's take a look.
Here they are.
Okay, it's one of those. The rest I fell completely flat on. Go figure.
I'd tap you on the shoulder.
To be fair, Cyclops started on banning phase. I thought it would be C9. That's my bad.
But that changes everything.
Oh, okay.
It transforms the flow.
It's a shame. It's a shame Hap didn't have the same quick brain for excuses that you have there. Oregon Consular and Cafe.
Yep. I am very surprised to see Club and Coast get left so late and not get picked up by either side, to be honest with you.
Why
Villa,
so?
Because Villa comes as no surprise. That's the ban that I thought Cloud9 would go for at some point. I think that was their first ban because they have banned it every single day so far. 10 bans across the season, often their leading one. Theme Park often came through as the second, but that was taken away by Cyclops, so they got to cycle things up a little bit here. Club and Coastline, it's only because of their lean towards those maps historically. Club again playing into this defensive style. Coastline, I've mentioned it so many times, you're probably all sick and tired of me saying it now. 32% defender win rates. It is just screaming, Cloud9, please play me.
Unfortunately, they removed it to play Café dos Teos.
They did. And I was like,
but he's written
again,
all of his notes.
This is why I find it very interesting. I mean, to be fair, Cafe, they've played it 3 times. Coastline, I think it was a similar one. They played that 3 times as well. I just thought Coastline a lot more into their favor given how the results had gone.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, if you're talking about how these maps come together, Oregon, we obviously already saw today, Cafe as well, and these are maps that can really spark a fire in defensive teams, I would say. So for me, obviously, looking at Cyclops and looking at that Oregon hold that you assume they're going to start on their attack, which obviously Cloud9 are good at, they might be able to find something more in these maps. And I think if they're heading into Cafe on that third swing and they're looking at we can try and pull this on our defense, they're potentially in very good spirits.
All right, guys, let's take a look at what people voted on this match. Again, we like to see what you think about the games. We'll then tell you what we think. Social votes are in. 60% for the Korean team, 40% for the Japanese.
That's 100%.
Hey,
actually, at this point,
you need Hap to tell you that.
Hap, we got to put you on.
Oh, thank you, Hap.
I'm so glad he's here, Professor Hap. And mathematics.
Well, actually, it's 100%. So,
actually.
Yeah, not too shabby.
I can confirm I've done the maths and done the calculations. It is indeed 100%.
Yes.
Grab my calculator real quick, just to make
sure.
Give me a couple of minutes.
Give me a couple of minutes and run the calculation.
You know, Stats Girl and Stats Man, I guess at this point, we don't call you Stats Girl anymore, do we?
It's like a superhero, isn't it?
It's like, wait a minute, I didn't have...
Honestly, if I was in danger and the superheroes that came to my aid were Stats Girl and Stats Man, I would be a bit disappointed.
I'd be worried why...
Actually, no, because they'll step in and go, 97% success rate, saving those in danger.
I'd be like, why are they sending me a married couple? Come on.
Fair enough. Okay, I don't want to... Okay, guys, let's see which teams we picked. Do we agree on something like in the last game? Because we were correct. Not half, but we were correct.
Our Giants.
So cheery.
Yeah.
No, we didn't agree.
To be fair, everyone is harping on Hap and his predictions and being like, oh, I got it wrong. It's like, well, he's still got the overall prediction.
I still have
right?
100% correct.
Oh, Hap.
Right. This is the difference maker, though, because we...
And this will be a difference maker, indeed.
You and I have gone different directions.
Okay.
I'm starting to regret my choice.
Because I'm cursing it, right. Okay,
yes. Let's be honest. Between myself, Gio, and Flug, I think we have pretty good idea what's going on.
We've got Stats Girl on our team.
Yeah, listen, I couldn't tell or didn't notice that 33 plus 77 made 110, so I would not be too...
Yeah, you're
right. She
has
a physics degree, by the way.
I know the book culture.
She can talk about planets, but when it comes to just numbers, nah.
I didn't learn about planet. No, that's the sad thing.
She talked about planes yesterday, on and on and on.
I know.
Yeah.
I've heard that conversation, that
lecture
many a time.
She is obsessed by plane crashes, by the way. So if you ever want to know...
Why would you say that?
Why not? All right, let's see how this goes.
I told you, get it back at the desk. There you go. You got it back at the desk.
All right, it could be worse than in that case.
Okay, guys, let's see where this game actually goes to. Well, one thing we know is that starting off, it's going to be on Oregon, picked by Cyclops. So, Gio, Hap, all yours. Enjoy.
Well, considering how Gio eats a Kit Kat, I think I'm on the right. Trying to find out which team will win. Look at the beautiful blank screen.
I bet everyone through our mics would have heard them just erupt with laughter. I didn't even... The thing is when you guys all had a go at me yesterday for that, look, I was tired after a full day of work. I went and grabbed this Kit Kat off the side. It was a bit melted. I bit into it. And then everyone who was, including the observers, Easy and Medics, everyone who was out there, just screamed at me me. And I stood there and I was like, am I not meant to be eating this chocolate?
No, you're
I had
eating it
no idea
wrong.
what it
That's why
was.
the official Kit Kat channel is even pissed at you.
Yeah, Kit Kat tweeted me saying we're not angry, we're just disappointed.
Yes. Totally given. Anyway, Cyclops Cloud9, I think due to that, Cloud9 is going to be taking it home, but we do never know.
It's very true.
As
You especially do never know when it comes to scorelines.
I'm still 100%, but that does not matter.
You're right, it doesn't.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
But have you and I gone for the same? No, you went for Cloud9.
Yes, I just said
Oh,
I think
went for
Cloud9 will win
Cyclops.
because you
I
were a
went for
Kit Kat
Cyclops.
eater.
Yeah, I went for Cyclops. So one of us is going to be right, one of us is going to be wrong. Straight away, really interesting actually to see Cloud9 banning out Dockerbee because that's one of their favorite operators to play.
I mean, we did saw yesterday coming out as well, so it might, you know, there might be a little bit of a theme going on here as the Thatcher is also getting banned.
Well, I mean, that's just
normal.
Yeah, that's just what it
That's
is.
definitely a trend coming through. And the Maestro will be removed. Back at the board, or not really back at the board. Removed from the board again. English is hard.
When we saw Oregon get played yesterday, Maestro was obviously really prominent. We mentioned it yesterday. You can play him on the top floor, particularly if you can use impact tricking, if you're trying to stop the games room wall from being opened up. And Valkyrie's obviously going to be that last one there. Very common, not only for Cloud9, but just pretty much anyone who doesn't want all of that information to be gained by your opponent.
Valkyrie, most banned defense operator, and then Thatcher most banned attack. We're both present
Oh,
here.
you were watching the pre-show? Yeah.
No, I've got it all written down here.
Yeah, but also we said it on the pre-show. Do you not remember?
Yeah, of course we said it on the pre-show, but I've had it written down since like 2 days ago. So,
Oh, all right.
so you know,
Fan.
I was looking in the future and knew that I would need it.
Really, somehow I don't think your future telling's that great, Hap. If I'm perfectly honest, I wouldn't own up to that.
Attackers need to locate
I just
and
know
defuse
general
bombs.
directions, not the not the exact details of a story. Anyway, finally, first round, we're in. Cloud9. Was he? Oh, is he trying to get it in there?
He wants to electrify.
Yes, he got it in.
He wants to electrify the cabinet so that no one can steal his clothes.
No, it will actually like reach the wall.
No, I do get that.
I know.
It's actually interesting what it is that Cloud9 have decided to bring out. Something like an Ella isn't necessarily what we're used to seeing be brought particularly on this map. We have seen Harper play this operator before, but it does suggest that they are going for something a little bit more defensive, obviously with the wall denial as well. And with Thatcher banned out, it's going to be much harder to deal with the electrical that's being brought out. But one of the things they mentioned at the start was, of course, the fact that Cloud9 very much are an attacking favored team. So seeing them play something that suggests that they're going to be a little bit more defensive, I'm very interested to see, because this could kind of be a new wave for them.
A new wave, a new generation of Cloud9 with the same players. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, something that I did say about Cloud9 is somehow every single time they managed to. Okay. Quick cheeky spray through the window right there, and Anderson got the down, but he's not aware of it. I was going to say, somehow every single time when he attack, Cloud9 actually manages to find themselves in a situation with only 20-30 seconds left before they have to go for the execute, and every single time they win it, even though you would not expect them to, a Sweet Black gets taken out. So that's the first kill on the board. Cyclops take that lead, something they struggled with a bit yesterday.
The thing with Cloud9, you sort of alluded to it there, is the fact that this is a team that is notorious for requiring a few rounds to warm up. Oftentimes you do see them a little bit slower, a little bit less coordinated in those first couple of rounds, making some silly mistakes, losing some players early, and it's always later on in the series that you start to see them pick up. The issue is here, we're in essentially playoffs. We're in the major. You can't necessarily afford to be losing those rounds.
No, you cannot, but you also kind of can. Right, the best of 3, we said it often before with G2, then they can map before they can warm up, and then they get going. This is something that Cloud9 could potentially use to their advantage now as well. That first map is, you know, you can allow it to be a bit sloppy as long as everything is picture perfect afterwards. So that is something to keep in mind. Not everything is decided on this map, of course, as the X-Kairos will be used no impact trick to try and deny, meaning Cloud9 will be having to deal with the opening of games.
Nova's in a fairly precarious position because of how many members of Cyclops look like they're moving in from a similar part of the map, from towards Master, from towards Trophy. Yes, he can sit there and try and catch one or maybe two of them out, but as they start to move in through both of those directions, that's going to make it very hard for them. Gatorada obviously below as well. Makes it look like quite a few angles are going to be held here onto Cloud9, and a lot of that pressure will be applied to them.
Seeing that the smoke falls back just a little bit. Holding off to the trophy door, but we'll be taking out Suzu, able to pick up that kill. Going to be the second one to go in favor of Cyclops, as we'll be moving through, but the white swing from the white stairs will be able to pick up one kill. It's going to be Harper then to pick up the one onto Suzu as well. Keep on cutting one and through. It's going to be another one to fall. It's all up to Anaton now, but he will be able to pick up one kill at least. He's going to be able to find more. There's 7 seconds left on the clock. Needs to find the last 2 remaining players, but they're pretty spread out. Gets one. Is he going to be aware of the fact that the last one is on the white stairs? Yes, he does. Anaton able to get a clutch in. Round number 1 straight away. And that is promising for the rest of the match.
This was actually really exemplary of what we would expect from these players. The fact that MV Taylor on the side of Cloud9 got those multi-kills, he looked really, really accurate with them, really knew what he was doing, but if anyone on the side of Cyclops was going to be able to actually beat him at his own game, it was going to be Anaton. And this is something I think that we should be expecting to see more of going into this game, especially as Cyclops have proven that in those late rounds, they can be aggressive, they can push forward, they can do that. Now, they, as I said, they were well positioned to be able to apply that pressure to Cloud9, and then suddenly the pacing slowed down a little bit, and that's what gave MV Taylor the opening to be able to get those kills that he did. But as soon as then there was the space to move on forward, Cyclops don't hesitate to actually go in and take those opportunities. So now Cloud9, despite having lost that last round, they've decided that they're going to head on downstairs into the basement, playing something kind of similar in that they've still brought the Ella along, but this time they are going to be playing around the mirror. Sweet Black was, of course, lost fairly early in that last round, and it was actually really disappointing. It wasn't really part of a fight, it was just you were caught in the wrong place. If he can prevent himself from having that same fate be met, then Cloud9 might find that they benefit from 5 people on their team.
I think 5 is always better than 4 in your team. In a game of Siege, Cyclops looking to take from tower, I assume. I'm trying to find out what their game plan is here. It does look like most of the members are actually located around that area. However, Shao is right here. He's present. Going to put some pressure down as it gets droned out. Will be chased. Anaton to go for the chase. Will be picked up though this time. Shao will be low on HP, 5 or something like that. It's going to be Anaton gone. That's the big impact factor gone.
Yeah, it's going to make it so much harder for the tower stairs to be held, though, as obviously Xiao is based down in pillars, where you would expect the Jaeger to be playing. He has actually moved back a little bit, going to be going back to his shield, but with such a low HP there, if he can be cleared out, that gives so much more space available there to Cyclops. That's something the Cloud9 going to have to be very aware of, very careful of, as Ayagator starts to move in through construction. It's going to be Black Ray securing himself the next kill. That is Xiao, so there we go. There is that one hindrance down at the bottom of the stairs who has now been eradicated.
He managed to return the favor, though, putting Black Ray onto low HP himself, meaning that Cloud9, just a single breath would be enough to take him down. If it was in the right direction, that'd be.
Here's something that's really interesting. Cyclops just droned out Freezer, and they think it's clear. Nova's actually moved into it, and they're going to be expecting no one really to be based there. But if Cloud9 continue to try to rotate to make up for the fact that they've lost Xiao, it could be that that's kind of free real estate there from Cyclops if they can make an aggressive push down. That's what they're going to be going for, as Gatorada's just peeking around the corner, not yet seeing anything, but this could be an opportunity for him.
Should definitely be aware of the mirror window there, and that is definitely something you should not want to challenge, as it seems like a laundry push is imminent. 2 members ready. Barricade will be broken up. Grenade will be cooked. However, there seems to be unaware whether or not there is going to be an ADS right there. Mewjammer will be taken out. That's going to be allowing the hatch to be opened up by the Hibana, creating yet another angle. 45 seconds, Gatorada somehow managed to sneak himself into that freezer, but he's going to go prone now. He is stuck in that position. He's going to have to wait for that grenade to come through, and there it comes. Black Ray will be able to pick up that kill from the hatch, tossing it through. That's going to be opening things up and freezing. No one on that mirror window now will give them some freedom as well. Nova is going to be the man that has to defend the front line now. Has that C4 available. Envy Taylor will respond. Gatorada goes down, but instantly gets traded himself as well. Suzu will find that kill. Pre-fires on the mirror window, but it will not be coming in with anything as of yet. As the down comes in, it's all up to Black Grace on 5 HP. Is he going to be able to sneak around yet again? No, he's going to get sneaked upon himself. And as the time almost runs out, there's 5 seconds. Will he be able to win this round? The answer is no. Harper gets that final kill. It's Cloud9 to take it. Round number 2 goes to them.
An incredibly slow-paced round, given what we've seen from both of these teams before. And it seemed very much that Cyclops were trying to apply pressure onto Cloud9 from various different angles in a way that would force their positioning, especially once Xiao went down. Gatorada obviously positioned there in Freezer. They managed to throw in the nade to get rid of Sweet Black. That's the mirror off the window and that presence in Laundry that's been disappeared. But still, you haven't dealt with anything from the construction side where supply is. And so that meant Harper on the yellow was still able to play there in blue, while Gator was waiting outside on the Maverick, not really able to get anything. You wanted to use Black Gray to throw in the nades, but at that point he was such low HP that he couldn't really risk peeking the Laundry stairs in the way that he kind of flirted with. So it was very slow and steady there from Cyclops, and obviously it just didn't work out for them because by the time they did have to move in, they were so low on time that it was relatively easy for Cloud9 to just clean it up.
Again, same. Electric Claw being used. Bit of a spot to try and find that one. Oh, we'll decide to rethrow it a little bit. Maybe the thing did not come through, and it is so. Yeah, no, I have to agree. It is disheartening to see Xavier get kicked out after such an immense series. I was kind of surprised we didn't see the full 45 rounds. I mean, I kind of tried to curse it, but.
5 seconds to insertion.
You know, this is really interesting because you see Anaton's decided that he's going to be bringing the Capitão, but they are playing into Wamai. There's no Wamai ban. So the question of how much value that's actually going to be able to get there for Cyclops.
Yes, but with her chassis, you can also use Capitão to counter off the Wamai. You have 7 projectiles that will be caught. So if you're not really giving that much value to the incendiary bolts, you can use them to get rid of those Wamai discs, potentially putting yourself up onto a better spot to try and, you know, clear out with actual grenades, which they also have 2 sets of.
It's very true, but the question is, do you want to do that? If you want to go for something like a smoke plant, for example, you don't necessarily want to waste that utility clearing out discs. And with Envy Taylor being the player who's situated there on the Wamai, he has a relatively good KD. And by relatively good, I mean very good KD. And it's going to be significantly harder to bring him down, which means the likelihood of having those regenerating pancakes is going to be much harder.
Or frisbees.
Or frisbees, pancakes, magnets, whatever you want to call them.
Toss them like a frisbee.
I liked the demonstration. It's too bad
I mean,
only I got
people
to see
don't see it, but there's no one else here now.
We are alone in the studio. Everybody else got sick of us. But there we go. Envy Taylor is going to be placed here in Attic, just like last time. And if he's able to get those same kinds of kills as he was last time, maybe Cloud9 will be able to pull this one out, which they failed to do on the first round.
There we go. Utility being tossed through. Some impacts to try and deal with the shield, but will fail to do so, actually. It's going to be making things a bit harder, as they also have to deal with that shield somehow. And you see Envy Taylor right there at the end of Attic, also having a shield available to him. Here comes one of the smoke arrows. It's going to be catching Envy Taylor almost off guard whilst reloading. He's not going to be able to pick up the second one, though, as Gator comes in right after, gets that refrag confirmed, making it a 1-on-1 now. Both CAG and C9 lost one of their players. 60 seconds left. We need to hurry for this execute.
Start moving on forward. You've got to make sure they're sending in those drones, and that's something that Cyclops have been doing pretty well, not only just today so far in this game, but also when they were playing against Fav yesterday, getting the trophy wall open there. And it's interesting that we're seeing a lot of attention be spent off this wall here in this region, but exactly like we saw yesterday, a lot of those pellets are going to be shot off. Not quite all of them, but it does mean Charles still can play here in Games Room, and it'll make it so much harder for Cyclops to move on through into Dorms. With 25 seconds remaining, this puts a lot of pressure on them to potentially get more aggressive, as they haven't been able to necessarily get what they want.
Does indeed put a lot of pressure as they're worried about someone still potentially being there in Attic. There comes one asphyxiating bolt, smoke bolt right there to cover out Gator a little bit. Anderson running through. Is he going to be able to find the counter shot? No, it doesn't look like it. They're just going to be forcing themselves through Attic right here. Nova and Harper both be able to pick up one kill. There comes the shotgun in from Nova, and he will be finishing it off with that. A double kill right there from the M59. Cloud9 will be taking the lead as they win round number 3 on the back of this M59 shotgun of Nova.
Once again, it was a case of that pressure having to be applied there by Cyclops. They were bottlenecked. They were forced in through that door because the Havana pellets hadn't necessarily worked. That's what happens when you can't guarantee that that trophy wall is going to be not watched by one of the defenders. Xiao sitting there, obviously he had the smoke to obscure his vision, and that's really what allowed those two players to even make it through into Attic, through the rotate into Kids anyway. But regardless, you hadn't set yourself up in any way to be able to set up crossfires, prevent rotations by the defenders in the site. And that meant as soon as you're in there, you're so vulnerable. And that's why this Electroclaw that's being played on, it's not even technically on the games room wall, it's on the dresser that is affecting the wall. It's so difficult. You're not bringing Akali and you're not playing the Thatcher.
Even Akali would be able to get it.
Well, yeah, no, that's very true.
Because you would be shooting it at the actual wall, and you'd be like, doesn't get popped, let's try another one. Oh, it doesn't get popped again. I wonder where it is in that case.
It's so difficult to get rid of, and it basically means this really, really key wall.
It won't work after this game anymore, though, because everybody's going to be aware after that. So, like, people are going to be checking that closet from then on. Just pre-fired it a bit. But for now, it basically secures Cloud9 a lot of rounds. Well, not rounds, but a lot of instances where that wall will stay closed.
Well, they are going to be heading down to Meeting and Kitchen. This is a site that I feel like we've... I should really check the stats on this before I say it as gospel, but I feel like we've seen it more in APAC than we have in the EU. A lot of these APAC teams...
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, a lot of them like to play it, but we're seeing a little bit more of dining recently.
It's region specific. Like I believe that in NA this is also the preferred bomb site, but I'm not too sure. I think in EU it's actually dining that gets chosen more, but it also depends on the team. Many of them have a different way of protecting it.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind. Because, like, for example, if you take Rogue, they have that shower hold that we so often see. Really helps out if you want to be protecting the dining itself. So, you know, it's whatever the team's like.
I really like the upstairs positioning here from Cloud9. It allows them to have that vertical presence, especially as Cyclops look like they're going to come in from this small tower direction. Like you just mentioned, it suggests a relatively lateral choice of attack, which means that if they don't do this roam clear now, that's going to be a problem for them later on. We've already seen how that affects them so far in this series when they leave too many of those defenders up who can win out those gunfights in the end. And that's why we're seeing Suzuki up here trying to apply some pressure through the big window. Not yet seeing anything, but of course, not too far away from those roamers upstairs.
Just holding off as Black Ray opens up. Well, the barbed wire removed. Has to push through, but he doesn't know that someone is actually playing near the bathroom right there. Also taking care of one of the mute jammers now, allowing Suzu to open up into the kitchen, and that gives you a sign of where they want to be attacking from. Black Ray peeking in right now, will be able to pick up one kill, but the crossfire will be there. Harper will be returning the favor with the SMG9, saving his SAS buddy of Nova, who could have lost his life if he did not. That leaves us in a 4-on-4 situation with 50 seconds left, meaning that Cloud9, they have a good opportunity here of taking this round as well. CAG, they barely have any control.
Really strong site presence here from Cloud9 as they were all able to rotate back there in time before having too much trouble. And they still have the presence in security, notoriously such a hard place to lose control of. In go those smoke canisters, but a lot of damage is going to be dealt there into Nova, and he will be falling there to Ayagator as the team move forward. 20 seconds remaining, and Ayagator is going to be going in for the plant, but Harper's getting really up in his face. There's the two downs, make that a kill as the C4 comes into Aniton, and just about 10 seconds remaining.
Indeed, 10 seconds remaining there, and it ends right there. Shao got the last 2 kills in. I was thinking it looked really well as all the flashbangs came through into Harper, but then went off the plant, instead got downed. Lost a round after that. Cloud9 able to pick that one up as well. 3 consecutive rounds right now. That is really going to be helping them later on, as there is, of course, these 2 sides to Siege that we keep on talking about every so often. If they manage to get it one more, they will be feeling really comfortable.
Now, this is really interesting because when you think of Shield teams in APAC, Cloud9's not necessarily a name that comes to mind. Would you agree, Hap?
I would agree. But as you see, there is someone who is feeling comfortable playing on that Clash.
Attackers need to locate and
Would that be
defuse
Sweet
as many
Black?
bombs as they
I think
can.
it is indeed. Given the fact he chose it.
Wow. Crazy times. Unprecedented
analytics
scenes. Yeah. Well, no, and this is going to be really intriguing because Cloud9 obviously have been able to hold this site, and they didn't do it with a Clash last time. And obviously what they did, it was a very slow and steady pacing. They were able to prevent those kind of multi-angled pushes be made in from Cyclops. And this time they want to be going for something different. And I really like that because it means that it gives Cyclops less of an opportunity to be able to adapt to what it was that Cloud9 did before. Because if they're bringing something different, then it doesn't really matter what they did last time. So I'm intrigued to see where they're going to play this Clash. Some teams like to play it differently. Some play it very aggressively on the tower stairs in the back. You know, some might like to play it more towards the south side of the map. It looks like Sweet Black's... Oh, well, he's placing things at Freezer. He's not.
I mean, let's see where he is. It wouldn't be surprised if he will be rotating to Freezer later on, but it's already getting down there. Shal able to get that kill very early on. Now Sweet Black moving up these tower stairs is going to be pushing out that sledge. Will have to fall back now. Black Gray not able to get in as quickly as he would like to put the pressure back down to Shal, who just killed his teammate, and thus will be forced to fall back into meeting and start taking control of the rest of the map.
And that was obviously a really high-value kill as well, not just because those breach charges didn't have an opportunity to be used there by the Ashe, but also Anaton has really wreaked havoc so far amongst the team of Cloud9 and caused such a huge issue for them. Now, obviously, they're going to be seeing this enemy spotted outside appearing on their screens as Sweet Black did choose to play very aggressively, but in the meantime, they're going to be ensuring that that hatch down into electrical is going to be opened. As for the other hatches, hatch into Freezer, open there by the pellets, and once again, Cyclops will find that Freezer is not being held by Cloud9.
Look at the long angle though, from Cubby all the way into the mirror window that is holding off onto Freezer. It's going to be used to also potentially try and challenge in case someone will be coming down into the laundry area here. Black Gray doing some work, opening up these barricades, and Gadarada now as he tries to move into the Freezer, hopes to take control. He's not feeling too confident of it. He's going to be using his utility to get rid of that barbed wire. And look at that, the mirror window is there. They think no one is playing it, but I believe it's actually being played all the way from over inside the Cubby. Indeed, it is. Nova able to at least play it a little bit. Sweet Black will be stunned now by the Zofia, but no one is there to actually respond to it. Second mirror window will be taken out. Actually, will it be taken out? It might be. 2 pellets on it. There we go. It's indeed gone.
Now, here's the thing. The way that Cloud9 are positioned means that any peek that's being made around here by Cyclops could end up getting caught out. Especially while Sweet Black does protect Nova just behind him. That'll make it so much harder for Cyclops to move in from the south side of the map. Again, they're finding themselves with very little time remaining as there's under 30 seconds left and they're still yet to make the push in. It's all well and good if you want to try and be aggressive, but your key gunner isn't there anymore, and Cloud9 have proven that they can hold their own in these situations, as Envy Taylor is proving. And I don't even need to finish my sentence as Cloud9 end up with a flawless round. Cyclops did not even have a chance.
He did not have a chance indeed, and well, if you looked at those last dying seconds, Gio, you saw them all still rotating around, and that gives away the sign to me that it wasn't clear until the very last second what the actual plan was going to be, what the actual execute was going to be, and thus they struggled, and thus Cloud9 managed to get these last final kills in, as it was so chaotic in the end. And thus, right now, 4-1 in the lead, 3 rounds ahead.
Once again, it was a good call there from Cloud9. The fact that they decided to make the change to their defense, regardless of the fact that they did win the first time they went to that site. and obviously now going to be finishing things out on their defensive half, going back upstairs. Now, obviously, we spoke about how Cloud9, very strong attacking team, and right here they have proven to be fairly untouchable on the defense. What does that leave for Cyclops as things turn around at the half? Because really, this should have been the half that they had the most advantage on.
That is definitely going to be hurting Cyclops. However, as mentioned before, I believe that they're also proper on the defensive side, especially the last play that we've had. As Desert Shoe with his beautiful face shows up. Day 2 feels like the final on day 6. What a game. Well, we still have to get that final, and if it proceeds like this, Cloud9 is hoping to be the first one to put a lag into that one.
They're really making it look like a relatively one-sided game. This is almost the entire opposite.
Yeah, the first round was Anaton.
Yeah, the first round was Anaton, and Cloud9 since then have just been like, well, we'll just not let you have Anaton then.
Yeah.
And this is one of the concerning things. They mentioned on the desk how Blackray especially had really shown up in the game they played yesterday. I mean, where is he now? Well, actually, he's in bunker right now, but like, metaphorically, where is he now? Milo's just looking at me disappointingly.
He was drawn up with Anaton on the on terms of kills, but Anaton in the meantime already got that entry frag down. Harper has been taken down. A hot drone from Cyclops would be guiding a wallbang to come through. And Sweetblack, you have to be careful now because he's surely hunting you now as we speak. There's drones coming in and Anaton already coming in hot right here. Hoping to chase him down, hoping to put a second one onto the board, but he has to be careful as well. You cannot afford to die now, Anaton. Yes, it is your job to go first. Sweetblack is just wasting a ton of drones right here to down 3 already, but loses his life. Anaton able to pick up that one, a quick little happy teabag right afterwards to confirm his pleasure. With 2 minutes left on the clock, they have a 2-man advantage.
Not looking so great for Cloud9 so far on this round. As Shell and Envy Taylor desperately tried to figure out how they're going to prevent the push in from Cyclops when that eventually comes through. All 5 members remaining with all 4 frag grenades still available. Not quite going to get anyone is the one coming out from Blackray as he throws it at the floor. And so still those last remaining 3 members of Cloud9 stand. About a minute and a half they still have to defend this site. And that means Cyclops can take their time somewhat, as right now they've been relatively unimpeded.
There's the lead time, 72 seconds to be exact. Shell. Here's a drone come by, but it's not going to be able to see it, spot it, or take it out. So just will have to be careful. As Hibana's opening up now, some pellets being deployed. I believe we see a similar Electroclaw to be deployed by the likes of, oh no, still C9, so actually still the same. Electroclaw being used to make sure that the cubby or games does not open up. Nova holding off onto these vertical angles. We'll be tossing in some smokes, hoping to stop Gadarada, but with 44 seconds left, a grenade will be making that even harder as Nova dies. It's going to be a return frag though to come in. Envy Taylor will respond. The diffuser will be dropped inside of that window. That means they have something to hold on to. They just need to waste the time. 30 seconds as a new member of, well, Cyclops will be joining them. It's not going to be able to pick up the diffuser as of yet. A bit of pressure being deployed by Envy Taylor. Picks up yet another kill, but will be fully fleshed right now. Has to be careful. There comes the kill. It's going to be a double kill to come in potentially. No, it's Cyclops. Actually, it is Blackray with a double kill. We'll be able to get the final one with that M59. Cyclops find their second round. It's still a good half for both. But man, Cloud9, they looked really dominant.
Cyclops simply getting overwhelmed there in that final round before the half goes in. And as you say, Cloud9 did look exceptionally dominant on the side that we wouldn't expect them to. This is a team who have a less than 50% win rate on the defense. And they've just shown that they can stand up to the best team in Japan, a region which I think would be fairly reasonably argued that has outshone the Korean region for quite some time. But now obviously things changing here at the half, and it's going to be Cyclops' opportunity to bring things back in their favor. That said, Cloud9 are now on the attack, which falls very much into their favor. It's going to be going down to the basement for the first site, and something relatively similar to what we saw from Cloud9 is going to be played by Cyclops, choosing to bring the Clash, which is going to be Anaton, who not only is one of those players that you see like to run and gun a lot, but also a good shield player, as well as the Mirror.
Mira indeed. Checking where it will be deployed. I'm not seeing the reinforcements yet into the freezer. Instead, Suzu is reinforcing upstairs, and that makes me think we might be seeing a meeting hold to come through. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Seconds to go.
No, it's not the case. Okay, walks downstairs. Really disproves my point. We'll be putting at least one in cubby, and the other one will be indeed in freezer. So similar setup as you said before.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Different time management for it. Of course, you're like, I get what they're doing. I understand that.
This is the first time that we're going to be seeing Monty
Yes.
played. So we are going to have the clash of the shields. I was going to say the clash of the clashes, but only one of them is clash, really. And it suggests they're going to make a push in through the construction way. You can use the Monty to actually hold up quite far through into boiler down towards pillars at the bottom of the stairs. You can have a player placed directly behind them. Get some really good kills. It puts a lot of pressure on whomever may be at the bottom in pillars. You can get some control onto hallway that way as well. So if that's done well by Cloud9, then that could work for them. But actually right now, what we're seeing is them come in through the first floor instead and looking to be maybe moving down the stairs.
They could be, but it looks like they're taking this control of meeting first. Opening up these hatches, that will create an extra angle to deal with the player in Harry Potter, potentially playing up the stairs if they have full control. So that might be something they're looking forward to. Keep in mind, they have a Nomad as well, Gio, and that means that they might be able to use one of these air jets to get Anakin out of position, force him to just fly all the way back. And if that happens, oh no, that Claymore might be dealing a lot of damage now. Shao was just out in time. I thought we could almost see like a little bit of a reverse card coming out right there, walking through that Claymore with that shield, killing the owner instead.
Only a tiny bit, and nonetheless you can still see Anakin be forced back into the corner as those pings came out from Cloud9. Getting the lifeline prepared just in case the clash may be met at the bottom of the stairs there, but instead it's going to be used to rid the stairs of the barbed wire. That gives Xiao a perfect pixel angle down into what is happening below. Less than half the round is remaining though, and Cloud9 is still yet to push on really into the side as Xiao takes a decent chunk of damage for himself.
Yeah, Nova walked in front of him there as he tossed in that impact grenade. He hit him, and thus they both took the damage. That is not going to be helpful at all. Grenade will be tossed in, but 8's in by the ADS, and they know there's another ADS there. Will go for the run and tries to get the kill. Will get it as well. He's going to be stuck behind the pillar now, though. Needs to be careful. The Monty will be pushing through, and that gives him the opportunity to try and peek down the left side. As Gadarada will be able to pick him up. Envy Taylor gets a response onto him, though. It's going to be a 3-on-4 situation, as Cyclops will be trying to hold off the forces of Cloud9, who do have that one-man advantage right now. 30 seconds. We are slowly counting down as the Monty is trying to push through. C4 will go through. We'll be able to pick up the kill onto the diffuser. Harper will go down. 3-on-3. No one air jet will go off. Aegate will be soon out of play as he gets taken out now. It's all up to Black Gray in a 1v3. He goes aggressive. C4 reigns over, but will be shot mid-air by Envy Taylor. He needs to go aggressive, but Shao picks him up. It's Cloud9 to take down round number 7. And with that, they will be 1 round away of reaching match point.
Yeah, this has been so swift for Cloud9. And actually a lot of that round, I did wonder if they were going to be able to do it, because obviously it was a very one-dimensional push. There was no one providing any kind of pressure in from Freezer, in from Laundry. I was thinking you've still got the Goyo present there. There's nothing coming up from behind. You're going to be forcing the defenders back, but you're not necessarily ending them. But once the defenders had used the utility, like those impacts that you mentioned, like the C4s, especially that one that ended up getting shot out of the air, there wasn't really all that much that Cyclops had to throw at Cloud9.
Except a body, a single body.
Well, exactly. And even then, like, all they really required was for Sweetback to stay alive, because that shield was still up. There was still something that had to be dealt with and had to be aware of that prevented such access to the attackers. And as you say, Hap, that means that now there's only 1 round away until match point.
1 round away, Cloud9 showing their attack strength. Even though they might take a while, you think, 20 seconds left, is it going to be enough for them to come through? Yes, it is. And here again, see that knife kill. Nova instantly going crouch to get a better angle on shooting these feet. Gets the kill onto that clash as well. That opens things up. Keep that in mind, because that is basically all pillar control gone. And we say it so often, pillar/boiler control for the attackers. If you have that, you're set to win the round.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Well, obviously the Monty worked out so well for Cloud9 that they've decided to bring it once again, except this time, obviously going upstairs. Slightly different approach is going to be adopted by Cyclops to what Cloud9 did. They're going to have the Pulse to be able to provide that extra information, which they may indeed require. But of course, you could play him downstairs, have the C4 available to you, because that is a significant counter to the Monty. As well as that, you have the Bandit that's going to be played by Black Ray, and that means that those Bandit batteries are going to be on the wall instead of the Electric Claw. But if you are going to have the Pulse playing downstairs, he could prevent the opportunity for Cloud9 to move in downstairs, shoot the batteries out from below, and make it significantly harder for that utility to be removed.
Oh, look at the bullet hole right there. Beautiful shot. Anaton able to pick up Shao. Very long angle as well as Medic's portrays here. Absolutely disgusting.
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 It's disgusting.
Sorry, I do not speak accents.
All right. Well, you're right. That was a very disgusting shot there, and it does mean that Xiao, who has been one of these top fraggers not only today, but also throughout the season, is no longer going to be available there for Cloud9. Now, luckily, MV Taylor still is, so if they do want that gun power, he can still be there. But he's obviously got to ensure that all of those air jabs are going to be placed first. He's got to keep his priorities in check. He's still got one in his pocket. As the Monty starts to come in through Attic and Cyclops prepare for the push.
Why does no one care about Attic? They're just allowed to freely move through. Get someone up there as well in T3, so it's not an issue. You have to say that their setup is all the way rotated around, holding that as his grenade now comes in. Nova able to pick up Black Ray. And that leaves us with 60 seconds left. The player playing on that game's wall has been removed, and that gives the opportunity to Harper to actually open up. And right now they can go for a pins. We have Envy Taylor on the kid's window. We have Sweet Black moving through Attic. C4 will be baited, but will not be able to get anything. The one will be deployed. Also, will not be finding any joy. And that means there is little to no denial left. We have nothing left, actually. Everything has been used. They need to actually go for the gunfights now. There's no more utility that might help them, as Gatorado will be able to pick up Harper. I believe that the presence in T3 is actually going to be, well, removed now as Envy Taylor tries to win the gunfight. Anaton picks up yet another kill, and suddenly it's all up to Nova and Envy Taylor now. It's the two of them that need to find it in the last 20 seconds. The question is, will they? As they're trying to, well, fight and every angle they can find, but no one is showing themselves on the likes of Cyclops, Athlete Gaming. The last 8 seconds coming through, surely it will end in the likes of Cyclops, and indeed it does. Susan and Gatorado will be able to pick up the last 2 kills. Cyclops put a round on the board.
There were a number of concerning things on that round there for Cyclops. The fact that it was so easy for Cloud9 to be able to bait out the vertical play that they had planned for themselves. The fact that Cloud9 were able to get the games room wall open so early, which was obviously something that Cyclops failed to do, or actually didn't even attempt to do when they were on their attack. Now, obviously, at the end, there wasn't really much utility remaining for Cloud9. As we saw the Maverick sneaking around, it was Nova who was playing him. Not any other frag grenades were available on his side, so it's not like you could throw those in, and they were running on very limited information as to the locations of those remaining players of Cyclops. And obviously, Cyclops, they managed to take advantage of that situation, but up until that point, it hadn't really been going in their favor. Now, it's obviously great for them that they've been able to put another round on the board, but with Cloud9 having had such a strong game so far, it makes me question whether something like that will be allowed to happen again, or if Cloud9 will just tighten things up, tighten the screws, and prevent that.
Well, we talked about not having any utility left to cancel out a plant or anything like that in the last round for Cyclops, except for the buddies. And look at it now. We have 2 Yokais on board, we have 3 smoke canisters and 1 C4. So there's plenty of it now, together with a clutch to stall it out, to really force it into these last couple of dying seconds. And who is playing it? It's Anaton.
Of course. Anaton, the Shield Master. I actually really like this. I said yesterday how this is arguably my favorite site on this map. I think that the way that the shower hold is done by each team is really interesting, can be very intricate. But the fact that they've put so much utility, obviously, into holding showers, and you're going to have a clash in the next room over as well, it makes it significantly harder for the push to be made in, at very least through from small tower if that's what they decide to do. But actually, as it stands, it looks like Cloud9 are going to be going for an alternative route.
The touristic route, you might say. Going for the top floor, not directly. Cutting in from the small tower or the meeting room. We'll just be trying to find out where these players are located at. Opening up into attic, but it is reinforced into the kids' bedroom. It will give them, however, another angle to possibly play with. Having to be careful of Gator playing downstairs. So last round, how he just tossed up that C4. Might be able to do that yet again if he is certain that he will be able to pick up a kill with it. And Anderton just stalling it.
The risk that Cloud9 are going to find here is how long is this clear going to take, and when is it the Cyclops are going to decide that they want to make the rotate back down. And even then, while Sweetblack may be carrying a G8 in hand, if he gets downed and you suddenly no longer have your IQ able to find the Yokais, that's also going to make your life so much harder. Kids' wall is going to be open. That could allow them to get the angle in. It's going to be Nova starting things off with the shot onto Gatorada. So there's your Echo down, but make that Nova as well, as the Maverick is taken out there by Blackray.
It's a good trade though, very in favor of Cloud9 in their playstyle. They like to push in the last dying seconds, and taking care of that Echo is definitely going to be helping you. However, they need to get some kills in now. They need to get some openings up, and they know that that Clash is playing there, but it's going to be really hard to try and contest them. They need to get them from two different angles, but someone is still playing in top wide as well, and that means you need to go for him first. But if you do that, then the Jaeger is there to cover it all off as Blackray gets tagged, trying to rotate out. Now he's literally stuck. He's sandwiched. One upstairs, and then Taylor right here coming in from the back. Will be jumping in, but will be downed, and that means that they can move through. It's another kill to yet come in. Sweetblack, however, will be responding onto Blackray. He's going to be able to pick up yet another kill. Double kill to come through. The last two remaining members of Cyclops are now going to be finding themselves on the top floor, whilst Cloud9 is getting that defuse on the way. And these vertical holes will not be helping them, as the Clash will be dropping through. This is something they have to be careful of, though, because he is going to be able to find and feed all his information to the Jaeger, who just has to play it very smartly. This shield is something that could save them the match.
Yeah, Cloud9 is still going to have to deal with these two players, regardless of the fact that they've put the diffuser down. The Clash, of course, is going to be a problem, especially with the protection that she can apply to Suzuki. But Suzuki is still upstairs and doesn't necessarily have the right sights in, and Anderton has been down. Could this make it so much harder? Just about 7, make that 6-5 seconds to go before it's even going to be possible to get the diffuser, and he's going to be starting that off. Sweetblack, all he has to do is move on in, and that's around there for Cloud9.
A 4K for Sweetblack right here in this one round, able to, well, basically get Cloud9 through. Gets the kill, the revenge kill onto the white stairs, which basically alleviated a lot of pressure onto the likes of Cloud9. Cuts into side, gets a second headshot onto the side player who had a C4 in hand. And after that, just finishes it off himself as the plant goes down. So Cloud9 find themselves on a match point, or map point position, I have to say. And not just one map point, it's 3. Or 3.
You remember when you were talking about 7 threes?
There we go.
This could be that.
I was ahead of my time.
Is that what they call it? I mean, I think it's actually really cool that we've seen that come out from Sweetblack. Sweetblack, who actually ended stage 1 on a -21 KD. Not necessarily been the Envy Taylor of the team. Well, obviously, you know, because Envy Taylor's been the Envy Taylor of the team. But the point is being able to see him
really now?
put...
Attackers need to
Would you say that Charlotte's the Charlotte of the team in that case?
Yeah, Nova's the Nova of the team.
Oh, all right. Well, there we go. We managed to hammer it down.
Yeah. What about Harper?
I think he's a Harp 3R XD.
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 XD, bro.
It's in his name.
I know.
I'm just saying that I get disappointed eye, so I had to.
Again, some
Say
sarcastic
it.
nothing, which I don't appreciate the sarcasm. Cyclops, they're going to be coming down to the basement, and they have done this before, and they didn't win it. It was Cloud9.
Oh, was it? If Cyclops didn't win it, who won it then, Gio? It's Cloud9 indeed.
Stop being like that.
Oh, well. Anyway, let's see how they attack it this time. It seems to be that Laundry could be the focus point. Maybe together with Fraser, as 1 or 2 members are commuting themselves over to that area. Just to get their work done.
I like that Sweet Blacks decided to bring the Capitan. This is something that we didn't see before, and I mentioned before how Cyclops had a particularly one-dimensional, Cloud9 had a particularly one-dimensional attack onto Cyclops, which, yes, while it worked, not something you can necessarily always rely on, but being able to bring the utility of the Cap could allow them the opportunity to actually flush out some of those defenders in a way that they didn't have on their side before. They were, of course, playing the Monty last time, which they don't have this time, so you won't have the opportunity to just force a shield into the faces of the defenders. So having those other ways of being able to do that, especially going against the Clash, could be incredibly valuable.
Grenade there, you could argue it's wasted, but it's also going to be giving him an opportunity to fall back. We'll be taking care of some of the barbed wire, but it's not really how you would like to use that grenade. As the next one is going to get cooked, but that will fall nowhere near close of the shield of Anaton. Meaning that is some pieces of utility gone, and keep in mind how many drones Cloud9 already lost. They lost 6 drones actually, meaning only 4 are left. Aegator will be starting things up. Sweet Black goes down. Shao, however, just moves in. Is not going to be able to spot that Suzu, as he eventually does, however, get the kill. Cloud9 collapses their fingers and will be able to get in quite some kills as Nova cuts across, but they're not aware of the fact that both these players are in the freezer right here. The plant is going down. There is no C4 left in Aegator. He needs to go for the peak, and there is a Cloud9 member prone on the ground. It's Cloud9 that will be winning it. Round number 10 goes to them, and it is 7-3. As I said, ahead of my time.
Ahead of your time, sure. That was a really decisive victory there for Cloud9, especially on that final round. And I think that Cyclops missed out on a couple of opportunities there. I mean, Suzuzi, who was hiding behind the washing machine, whatever.
I don't know how he didn't see it.
Yeah, well, I was thinking Shell is right there. Envy Taylor placed down the air jabs so that they could pick up the diffuser and prevent the defenders from moving in forward and taking advantage of them in that situation. But it was Shell who actually moved past the air jab into where Suzuzi was, and Suzuzi didn't do anything about it.
He might have been flashed, he might have been stunned, I'm not sure, because I did see a lot of hand gestures from the mirror coming through, but I'm not sure what the exact thing was happening. We're miming. You know, that's when you get flashed. You put your hand in front.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, either way, as you say, ahead of your time, it was a 7-3. My prediction's looking a little bit shaky right now, but the fact is, Cloud9 showed so much fortitude, so much strength, and so much power that coming into the start of stage 1, we didn't necessarily expect to see so much from the Korean sub-region.
No, definitely not. And Cloud9, we said they were a bit, you know, I talked about it before, like their attacks, they often come down to the very last 30 seconds, and that was their strong point, able to win it. But now their defense was also looking super strong. And I think that is definitely what made the difference here. Able to get 4 rounds out on your defense just to finish it off on the attack, which is already your favorite side. I think that is really what cut them the edge right on this map.
I think a lot of the problems that Cloud9 did face in the regular season came down to rounds in which Envy Taylor Xiao didn't have their power unlocked. You know, they got shut down early, and also the fact that Sweet Black didn't always show up. But none of those things were a problem this time, and it showed.
Indeed, it was not a problem, but let's just quickly cut to the replays and commercials and then go back to the analyst desk.
That went so quick that when it...
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What an exciting map number 1, I have to say. Oregon, Cloud9 showed us what they're made of, and this was only map number 1. Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. Let's start talking about the details. Des, Fluke, I think one thing we mentioned on the pre-show, or the preamble for this matchup is, or pre-game analysis, I guess, is the fact that Cloud9 tend to have some issues on their attacking side. I think so far in this first map, even against a team like CAG, they look like they really iron things out. It's
what we saw in the second half from them that really impressed me, and that final round was probably the best example of it. Just this explosion of pace against a very lethargic-looking CAG, to be honest with you. Cyclops at point just kind of sat in a position where, like, right, they're going to come for us, we'll kill them when they come. And then C9 kill them and they go, okay, guys, let's go now. And it was just like, what's going on? So compared to the team we saw yesterday that was very reactive on the defenses, I was saying to Fluke before yesterday, C4s, jump outs of windows, really good turtle setups. Today, that disappeared on a map of their own choosing, and I just don't really understand why.
Yeah, and I guess, again, not to kind of circle around to what we said before, but it's, I guess, the expectations of a team is from a high expectation from them. We saw a fantastic performance yesterday, which was built around these kind of jaw-dropping plays, these jump outs, these motions, this complete fluidity and electricity that they seem to weld and tie together to make these rounds fall under their own. Here, it's just not there. The player who obviously a lot of eyes were on was Anaton, and yeah, he had these outstanding moments, 1 or 2 of them throughout that often led to the round wins, but then they stick him on Clash.
That was the big battle for me as well. Yeah. When a guy has just literally won you round number 1 by tearing through 4 members of the enemy team to get a quadra kill, you stick arguably your best performing player in this game in particular on a Clash. And we saw how rough that was on him. 2 rounds he played it, 2 rounds was the opening kill. Go figure.
Yeah, it didn't really pan out too well. Definitely was not the wisest of decisions in that moment. And maybe there's something to look back at for Cyclops. As you said, the biggest problem is being too passive against a Cloud9 that is performed better, way better than we've seen them even before. As the number 2 team even in the region in the qualification in stage 1, they still somehow played better today. Honestly, so impressed, even though I did not expect Cyclops to play this way. You know, it's really on C9 for this first map.
I thought they'd be a lot stronger on the defense in the second half, to be fair, given how we saw them fare against Guts yesterday, who in their own right are quite an aggressive team. Just didn't have the same panache about it, to steal a word from your dictionary, I think. It was just a bit rough. It was a lot of rounds, like round number 9 was a big 4K coming out of Sweet Black.
Yeah.
What can you do when all of the C9 players are firing on all cylinders? Because that's what we've just seen in that game.
That's it. And there was a point in the game where every single C9 player had 6 kills apiece, apart from Sweet Black, a player who obviously has unfortunately underperformed throughout the season so far. Then he starts to show up today. Then he pulls, I believe, a 4K in one of the rounds, and you think, okay, for all the comparisons of teams that have started to play better and started to play worse, this is a team that's played very well, and they're getting even stronger because this one player who hasn't been as strong finds his fire today, of all days.
All right, let's see if that fire is going to keep burning for map number 2. Consulate is up on the chopping board. You'll see the map ban graphic. And yes, it was picked by Cloud9. And finally, maybe we'll go to Cafe Dostoevsky again today.
We won't.
There you go. That's what I'm waiting for.
This is like, Consulate is such an attacker-faded map in the first place. You've got Cloud9, as we said, have been unbelievable on attack. They showed in that last map that even when it's not their pick on a defender-heavy map, they can still run the riot like everyone else can, and I honestly believe this could be a really, really embarrassing map for CAG.
However, what I will very quickly add on is that this is a map that rewards jump outs. It rewards aggression. It rewards something a little bit special and a bit crazy.
You smell that? Smell that?
What?
It's a Nomad band coming through, I think.
Oh,
yeah, it's definitely.
That's it. And if they can find just a bit of what they wanted last time, if they can find a bit of what they had yesterday, I honestly think that they can find some confidence here, because at this point, you're 1 map down. You're on the biggest stage for you, and you're in this situation where it is all or nothing. So give us all. Give us what you had and what we know you can do.
Yeah, the Cyclops we saw yesterday was a team that can do so much more, right? We talked them up so many times that, hey, they're back. This is the #1 team in Japan. They cemented their position in that game against Guts. We expect more of them today. You talk about that Nomad ban. Maybe it's necessary. I don't know what else can be added.
What my biggest fear is coming into this is, again, from what we saw from Cyclops yesterday, they are all about the defensive side of things. Cloud9 are about the attack. You're coming into a map here where Cloud9 with the map pick, so you get to pick the side here as Cyclops. Do you really want to go into Consulate being starting on the defense, knowing how well that often plays out? Or do you want to go into being the attacking team, knowing how well you attack? It's a real horrible kind of lose-lose situation for them here, and I'm genuinely worried about how dominant this might be for C9.
Fluke, what needs to happen? Because I think at this point we're just not going to talk to Des anymore.
Hanson's got to get bigger guns, basically.
Big guns. Big guns. Find the right way to do them. And as I said, it's like this argument of how do you unleash a player who is kind of in this situation. There's a difference when you see a team playing timidly to a team doing these jump outs where you're getting an ace from it. I think they came in a bit timid today. It was obvious, it was apparent. They wanted to kind of keep themselves in a bit of control. You can't do that in a game where you're up against obviously a very good team and you're up against a very tough pressure cooker of an environment. You gotta try and just, as I said, it's a weird way of saying give it your all, because obviously we know what these guys are capable of, but try and be less scared. Take the leap. Throw yourself out of a consulate window. You would be surprised what you get.
I love how yesterday we started with 3
Don't
Japanese teams.
do that in real life, by the way. Just
don't do that in real life. Only in video.
I love how we started with 3 Japanese teams and we're potentially about to see every single one be gone. That's the reality of it.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see what happens in this one. Cyclops proved to us yesterday that they are #1 in Japan. C9 throughout stage 1 and, well, in their first map right now, proved to us that they are indeed the top in Korea, and it's possible that we might see C9 playing later on in the week against Giants. It all depends on this. As Fluke was saying, if you're Cyclops, you gotta give it your all, and maybe we'll go to a map 3 on Cafe. Des doesn't believe it. Let's see what actually translates into game map #2, Consulate, Cloud9's pick versus Cyclops. Gio.
Give it away, Hap.
Hap, all yours.
Got it. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for the throw. But indeed, Cloud9, they looked strong.
Yeah,
they are strong.
Yeah, very safe to say they did.
They are definitely in favor of taking this map that we're currently flying through in our helicopter. We were flying through, but we've taken a landing as we are going to Consulate.
That window.
Jump out of that window there at the that one. Never mind, we're already gone. I was gonna say jump out of that window there. It might be a Nomad air jump, but that's okay.
Well, here we go. Heading to France. Which is where we are, funnily enough. Get it?
Oh,
anyway.
not France.
Was it got a French flag on it?
It's a French consulate.
It's in America somewhere? No. Where's it meant to be? Ivory Coast. Yeah. Oh yeah, they speak French there. All right. Well, regardless,
you don't need a French
flag. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm not a law person.
A consulate. You put a flag of the consulate on the consulate to know which consulate.
You guys were arguing over some operator's name the other day, and I don't know law. It's not my thing. I don't care about it. Anyway, regardless, we're going to be heading over into Cloud9's map now. Interestingly, of the 3 times that they played it in stage 1, they actually only won it once, but both the other times were 6-8s. They're exceptionally close. Guts Gaming and Giants Gaming being those 2 teams, and Scars, of course, are who they won against. So there you go. We're seeing so far those bans come out. Maverick and Nomad, correctly predicted by Des Achu.
Does that mean we get to see a Valkyrie? That would be the, epic countdown coming through. No, okay. That's unlucky. Normally they go hand in hand. Nomad and Valkyrie. As long as Cloud9 wins this map, my prediction game is still on point. But it doesn't matter. Cyclops versus Cloud9. Cyclops, you need to show what you have right here. You're the last Japanese team standing. Are you going to be able to, well, carry that across to the grand finals? Or at least a map 3 to start off with? Or Cloud9, are you going to be showing that you're back in business and you're back here to take what is yours?
Well, one of the questions that they were asking on the desk before we headed in is what side are Cyclops going to choose to begin on, especially considering the fact that Cloud9 are evidently so much stronger on attack, and this is an attack-favoured map. They have chosen to start on the attack. I'm being laughed at. Oh, I know why. It's because everyone's taking photos, and I'm the only one remaining at the desk.
I'm casting too. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hap has run away to go and pose.
I'm not even running away. I'm just sitting still on my on my. I don't know. I'm sitting, it doesn't matter. The match is going on. Cyclops versus Cloud9. Who is going to be winning it? I think Cloud9 will. Do you think Cyclops is still going to be taking it, Gio?
Yeah, I don't want to answer that question.
You have to. There is no more choice.
I'd really rather not. I don't know. I think Cloud9 have actually really outdone my expectations here, and I've been a big proponent of Cloud9, a big fan of the Korean scene for a while, but I did wonder if the aggression and coordination that we've seen from Cyclops would be a little bit too much for what can sometimes be late pacing from Cloud9. But today they've proven that they woke up on the right side of the bed and they really know what they're doing. They're going to be starting off here on the defense, as I said before, bringing in some of that wall denial in the form of the Kaid. That will make it obviously harder for the garage door to be opened. Sweetblack's going to be watching him through the drone hole, but it does mean that there'll have to be more of a vertical take here from Cyclops.
I dare to say that the last map we've seen from Cloud9 was literally one of the best Cloud9 maps we've ever seen in terms of that play. Anyway, Anaton in quickly on top floor. He's going to be getting on his drone, droning himself in right here, hoping to put up some early pressure, as BlackRay will be doing the same from the Visa stairs. Look at the angles that Nova is holding off right here. Oh, he's holding off the hatch like that. Should be aware of any drones or, well, personnel drops through as well in that case. Might even be able to watch the yellow stairs as you see a Warden and an Invitator just rotating back, taking a bit of damage. You might think, why Warden? Well, look at the smoke grenades that are present on Cyclops.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously have that in the form of the Dokkaebi, one of Cloud9's favorite operators. We did see banned out on that last map. Still got Logic Bomb remaining that they can use, but as you say, smoke grenades will be pretty important if they decide to use that to facilitate the plant that they make. But first of all, they actually have to make it down towards the site, which is still being heavily defended here by Cloud9. And that's why things like the soft destruction from particularly the buck in the hands of BlackRay are going to be so important.
Nova is definitely in a hard position here. The angle's being watched by BlackRay. Gator will be opening up now onto him as well. And that is definitely going to be forcing him out of a position. Might actually get him killed in the long run, as Flashbang's now coming through. They still don't manage to actually pick him up. Another smoke canister coming in. He's trying to cover himself as he makes a run for it into the bathroom. He's somehow still alive during all this, wasting so much time on the likes of Cyclops, as Anaton now picks up the first kill. Look at that. He found himself another corner to play, and as the smoke canister, the smoke grenade off actually Cyclops is going to be helping him out now. Still alive, 40 seconds.
That drone coming in could have bided him some time that he would have been able to use to actually drop down the hatch if he decided to, but now the buck is back in position to take advantage of him if he does move. So much is being spent here, but it's going to be Gatorado who's falling down as Envy Taylor uses that C4, with Nova finally being brought down as well. 20 seconds remaining though, Hap, and still Cyclops have to push in.
It took them so long to go for it, but look at Gator, he's moving in, but Envy Taylor's not going to be able to get the kill down, and that means they move through the basement corridor here. They're straight into vibes right now. The plant is going to be coming down from BlackRay. Will there be something to try and stop it? I doubt there is. Flashbangs will rain in, and the plant will go down. 40 seconds on the clock. The last two members are, well, in between the black car and the white van, but it's going to be Cyclops that take round number one straight away. But we've seen this one before. Back then it didn't end that well for them. Let's hope that this time it's going to be actually working in their favor.
Interesting approach taken there by Cyclops, who obviously decided to invest so much time upstairs, and that was a risk, because if those players like Nova had been able to rotate down at the right time, provide so much more presence downstairs, then suddenly you've wasted a significant amount of the attacker's time. The Buck was obviously paying attention to the angle into the public bathroom rather than necessarily opening up the floor into the garage, which is what you would normally see. And at that point, if it had worked for Cloud9, suddenly none of this utility on the attacking side would have been used for what they would then need it for in that moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not what ended up happening.
No.
No.
I like Nova. He spends so much time up there, and in the meantime, the remaining members of Cloud9 were preparing for a back take, and the remaining members. I mean, the remaining members of CAC. The remaining members of Cloud9 were actually finding themselves in their garage, not being able to deal with it. There was no more utility left, so perfect read there from Cyclops.
Well, Cloud9 now coming into their second opportunity to be able to make one of these defensive rounds work for them. And interesting choice of site. Obviously coming to what is typically accepted as the quaternary site?
What?
The offsite.
The offsite. I mean, many call the tertiary bomb site the offsite, so we do need a new name in that case.
Yeah, okay,
But
I'm saying quaternary.
Is that the right term?
Yeah, it's like first or like secondary, tertiary, quaternary.
First, secondary, tertiary.
Say that again.
Tertiary? Tertiary.
Tertiary. Tertiary.
Torture.
Okay, maybe not quite that bad. But either way, this isn't necessarily the bomb site that one might expect a team to go to second. So I'm wondering if they're thinking, we're going to try and throw Cyclops off. They're not necessarily going to be expecting to go here. A lot of teams find it kind of hard to attack into. You frequently go in for the top of the two bomb sites, but because of the potential for vertical play by the defenders, this makes it very difficult. That's why you see operators like the Pulse, like even the Mute, who holds on to the C4 to make it so much harder for the attacking team.
And how often do we see a Pulse with a shotgun, actually? It's normally something one of the other teams would...
Xavier, is that you?
Yeah, Xavier, are you living through in the likes of Cloud9? Has you just been taken down by Giants? As Nova paying homage to Scatman, using that M110. Tilak Scar is being used there onto the castle barricade. Looks like Cyclops actually wants to go for the top floor. But first they need to actually clear out those two roamers that are still present there before they can get a plan down in tellers.
And this is where we may find a very similar situation where a lot of the time is shaved off, as Cyclops do have to deal with these players who are playing upstairs. Now, Xiao got taken down relatively early in that last round. That meant he couldn't lend his skills as a gunner so much as we did see back in that first map. If he's able to live this one out a little bit further, but he's not. Doesn't matter. Black Ray found him first, and that's going to give Cyclops more of an opening as they continue on, I should say, with this clear.
It's definitely an opening that they need to get themselves set up to go for a plant. Keep in mind, though, only 1 minute 5 seconds left on the clock, and V Taylor is still playing upstairs as right now. Gator and the rest of Cyclops will be forcing themselves to go down to the first floor. Getting their drones in, trying to get this information as they want to go for a Teller stake. But there is still that one player in Tellers they have to take out first. And there's still that one player upstairs that will come back to them at some point to try and go down for a flank. So it's really important they get this first kill down, as Hopper will be dealing a bit of damage, will be able to pick up one kill. Maybe no, actually does not find a single one, just eases them up. As then V Taylor and Harper go down, it's going to be up to Cyclops now to secure themselves that second round. But you got to keep in mind, 26 seconds left, still that shotgun in play. The potential of a C4 to be tossed up as Gator right there will be getting that bomb plant down right now. Nova tossing in that C4 will be too late. As actually, no, the plant did not go down, but the wallbang will be there. It's all up to Sweet Black now. Is he going to be able to use his Evil Eye? No, he will not. A flawless round from Cyclops to put themselves up to 2-0, something they were not even close at the last time around.
And you could tell by the way that Cyclops has set themselves up that they wanted to go in for the kills. That's how that they were going to do it. I mean, you don't bring along a Blackbeard combined with a Dokkaebi unless that is what you're doing. And once they did get that clear of Xiao at the beginning, they could then invest in those logic bombs to seek out the remaining players that were left on Cloud9. Now, it's obviously monumentally disappointing there for the Castle, who... Once the Ash Breach charge had been used to open up the soft wall into Tellers and the flashes sent in, wanted to take the opportunity to try and get that kill, but missed twice, and 2 kills ended up being turned around there onto Cloud9. That meant when you had Nova and Sweet Black downstairs, Sweet Black creeping up with the Alder, trying to see if he could get anything, but by that point Anderton had moved forward too much, and Nova not successful with the C4, not actually fully knowing where those players were upstairs, and there's a Pulse that's not really a position you want to be in. So ultimately everything kind of fell apart there for Cloud9. It's a bit early to really determine how this is going to go, but so far it seems like Opposites Day in terms of who picks which map loses.
It's something that often happens because the side choice is just so important right here on a game like Rainbow Six, and of course choosing a map gives your opponent the side choice. You could often wonder how big of the advantage you should have if you choose the map. as Evil Eyes and Shields are being deployed, the reinforcements coming down, and as we hit that 0 moment of the prep phase, that means that 3 minutes of the action phase will come through. Cloud9, you have yet to find yourself a round breaker. You had a very commanding victory. Are you going to be able to at least come back now, put up at least 1 round to start off with? Or are you going to be finding yourselves on a 3-0 deficit? As right there, the EMP comes through, and that means the wall will be breached within 30 seconds.
Sometimes you just get so used to not seeing a Thatcher that it becomes almost surprising when he can be used, and that does mean that Cyclops can go in for the garage wall, which wasn't something that they attempted last time. Obviously, back in round 1, they hung around a little bit more upstairs, had a lot of pressure into the public bathroom, and didn't necessarily make that same rush in. But that does mean it has been open nice and early. That does influence the positioning of the defenders down in garage. But MV Taylor still on this roam over towards Visa. Potentially he could catch someone out on this side of the map, but the question is, if Cyclops rush on into the site, is he going to be available to do anything? Anagen is right outside. Does he know that he's there?
There is a drone, but oh no! The feed sticks through. He knows exactly where he is, wins that gunfight, and that's very unfortunate there for MV Taylor. A lot of crucial information being given away there to Cyclops. Not getting the kill, of course, through that wall, but it's so telling of what was about to happen. As Cloud9 will find themselves with an entry death. It's up to Cyclops now to finish this one off.
And in and of itself, it's such a risk to have another one of your players all the way on the other side of the map when there is that potential for so much pressure to be applied on the site. But, of course, it didn't work out given how that glitch ended up happening and MV Taylor got taken down.
It definitely did not. It did not help them. Hey, what's up? Hey, what are you doing there? Just quickly.
They were all, so this is the thing, everyone was lying on the floor down there on their fronts with their legs in the air.
And as soon as the game froze, they were like, run.
Froze, they all ran, but Fluke left all.
Maybe you can
Fluke,
see it on the
go
camera.
pick them up. Fluke, go pick them up.
Fluke?
Fluke, come on.
Come on.
Don't leave the studio a mess.
Clean it up. Switch the crane, please.
It's so funny because he just looked back seeing all his notebooks and pens down there, and it was just that, like, this disappointment.
This is like,
longing.
you know, when you're getting in your plane and they say, like, in case of emergency, leave everything behind and just exit. That's exactly what Fluke did.
It was that level of urgency. It was the, oh God, what do we do?
We have to get out now.
Because also the other thing is we typically stand up when casting, and so we were just like, all right, let's sit down. We need to sit down. Well,
it's not going as I would expect it to go.
It's not
going as Desi would expect to go either. We're in the same boat here, I think.
Nice little eyebrow raise. I suspected that was passive aggressive.
Could be. I mean, this big old mad man Derry, so.
Yeah, that's what we call him. Well, either way, as you say, it's not necessarily going how Cloud9 expected. They had such a dominating victory on Oregon, which wasn't even their map. It wasn't a map that they had loads of experience on. And yet here on Consulate, the map that they picked out for themselves, a map that they have been playing on so much, even when you look back to things like the Korean Open, the Korean Open Championship, Pro League Season 11, they've always really liked this map. And it seems almost like Cyclops were a bit more prepared for it. They probably expected that they would want this map or they go to this map. Maybe they've just been watching a little bit more, pay more attention as to how Cloud9 like to play it. Or maybe they're just feeling a little bit more, let's just go for it. They were very, I mean, they described it on the desk as lethargic, right? How they played Oregon. They're just like, all right, let's take our caffeine shots. And we're going to play this one properly.
Let's get a little bit of a coffee in or an energy drink and get going. Well, they're definitely playing a bit more energetic and a bit more, you know, quicker paced. Yeah. And they seem to be finding out how Cloud9 is playing, instantly dismantling it as well. So definitely good for them. But we cannot forget we're only 3 rounds in right now, so there's still a lot to go potentially.
This is the thing with APAC is the second you start to make expectations in the first half of a game is the second that they get shattered. You think you're going to a 7-1 and suddenly you find yourself in a 7-8.
I mean, that's his thing right here. He said that we weren't going to a map 3, but only because he wants to see a map number 3. So he's kind of trying to...
Oh, I get it. Yeah. He's
Reverse
trying to
psychology.
curse it. I think, you know, one of the things that Cloud9 are potentially finding or is working against them is obviously seeing MV Taylor on Nomad a lot is really, really common. And Nomad's been banned away. Now, I don't think that necessarily is the only thing. Cloud9 are a bit too developed to rely solely on one operator, but when you have a very specific kind of playstyle that you like to go with, it can be you know, kind of daunting when that's no longer an option for you. They like to control the pacing, the roam of the attackers, or of the defenders I should say, and they're not really having the opportunity to control the pacing and the roam of anyone. Obviously they haven't made it onto the attacking side yet, and we could see things start to change when they do go there. As we know, very attacker-favored team and attacker-favored map.
Yeah, I mean, in APAC for sure, everything seems to be attack-sided nowadays. So I'm not really too confused.
Yeah, even Clubhouse.
Even Clubhouse is attack-sided. So
yeah.
I mean, we might see 3 rounds on the attack right now, but if Cloud9 manage to take 1 or 2 home on the defense, we might just see them take the whole thing.
I think one of the things that Cloud9 do is it's very characteristic of them to have a lot of players, you know, on the roam, placed off-site. They don't really do turtle defenses in any kind of way, but what they are not doing, I should say, is making early rotations back to the site at a certain point in time. What you see a lot of teams do is by the time it gets to the halfway mark, 1 minute 30, that's when you start to see that move back. But Cloud9 are a little bit, they like to play a little bit riskier, where they'll hang around a bit more, but it does mean that if you get caught out in that situation, it makes the site so much freer for the attackers. And it does look like so far, Cyclops has been taking that, you know, factor into account and taking advantage of it a bit more.
It definitely is the case. Like, I mean, if you lose your roamers early on, it is going to be coming back to you at the moment the execute will come through, because everybody who you expend elsewhere is not going to be on the site during the moment of execute, and it's simple maths. You know, if you have five people, or should we do it with fruits? If you have 5 pairs and you put 2 in the basket, you only have 3 left.
Like
so
2 + 2, it's 4 - 1, that's 3. Quick maths.
Yes, very good. Very good. I'm proud. You know, you couldn't see that 33 + 77 was 1 out of 10, but you got this one. You know how many bars are on a Kit Kat?
You know, let's not talk about that because I don't like being shamed, but it does sound like we are going to be heading back into the game very, very soon. Obviously, getting everything restarted, and that will be us heading in now for round 4. As you said, Hap, it's still early days. It's still not necessarily late enough for us to be able to tell entirely what's happening.
Cloud9 won the round.
Did they win the round or were they given the round? I don't know. They won. They won the round.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was the game that crashed or a PC that crashed, or I don't know. I just knew there was a crash somewhere.
That's unlucky. So we go from we crashing to alligator crashing. Hey, we're back. So how are you?
So let's talk about round 4. I think that was a really interesting round because we got to see, you know, the pick phase, which is really like this. Yeah, no, it's we'll just have to wait for Alligator to get back. There's a bit of unfortunate timing there. But the fact that Cloud9 have actually managed to get a point on the boards so far, you know, we were giving them a little bit of flack about the fact.
It was 3-0, honestly.
Yeah, no, me too, especially after the unfortunate incident with MV Taylor and Aniton. We were giving them a little bit of flack, but now it actually looks like they're starting to get their footholds in a bit. And I have said it before, I'm going to say it again, Cloud9 historically have been one of these teams that sometimes just need those couple of rounds to warm up. And you'll see almost a different team at the start to what you see at the end.
As I said, if they manage to get 2 or 3 rounds in on APAC, with Cloud9 being strong on attack and Consulate being susceptible for like aggressive plays, we might be seeing Cloud9 actually take the whole thing. And you know, those first 2 rounds at the start of the 3rd round looked very promising, very dominant from Cyclops. But you know, we saw yesterday 5-1 suddenly turned into a 6-6 into overtime and the other team won it. Nothing is certain until that last round has been played.
Yeah, that's very true. I think it's going to be so much more telling once we get onto the flip side, once we get to round 7, and we do actually see things come back around the other way, because of course that is where Cloud9 are going to feel way more in their comfort zone, or at least you would assume you never know. You would know all about that, Hat, wouldn't you? Expectations not working out.
I expected to once win the Benelux title as well, and I did not. It's almost the same story as... No, I'm not gonna say that.
Okay. Must be really heartbreaking when you have one player credit on Wikipedia and you really wanted to be a pro, so you ended up as a caster.
I have multiple tournaments that I've played.
Really?
I've played 3 tournaments.
Okay,
3
that's really
finals.
impressive, Pat.
Yeah. I qualified every single time, but never managed to win. But it's not about me today, even though I'm being a bit ashamed. But we still have Cloud9, who is back on the rise, and I think that is something that is worth mentioning. Cloud9 have been, you know, they started off strong, and then they basically, you know, went back a little bit, went down a little bit. They didn't stand out as much as they did.
I mean, here's a notable thing about Cloud9. They obviously came into the major in 2nd place, but the reason they were in 2nd place is not because they actually reached 2nd place on either of the 2 phases of stage 1. It was because of the nature of the bookhold system, which you know all about. You did all of your maths, all of your research into it. So it was simply to do with how their opponents placed and who their opponents won against and who they won against. That meant that they ended up placing 2nd overall. And one of the concerns that left us with coming into the major was they're in 2nd place, they have this bye, but are they actually 2nd place good enough?
Does look like it for sure. At least. They might be even able to take the entire thing if, you know, Giants looked a bit shaky today. Cloud9 so far, well, let's take the first map, look really strong, really dominant. If they manage to now continue that after the rehost, we might see Cloud9 just take the whole thing. That would be something. It would especially make you happy as a...
I mean, I think it would be really interesting, you know. I'm genuinely actually not biased in this situation. And obviously, I predicted Cyclops to win because I actually thought that that's what it was going to be. But what I think is really interesting about this is, you know, you've got the last Japanese team versus the only Korean team. Yes, the only Korean team who are here at the major. And so only one of these sub-regions is going to go through. Korea, who really had so much development and so much to prove coming into this, because the Japanese scene has had a lot more of a world stage attention. Not only have you had Norango in the past go on to play at pretty major events, you know, the biggest of the big.
Yeah, pretty good.
But then also, obviously, really major tournament in Tokoname in the form of Pro League Season 10. So there is such a big culture around this sub-region in Rainbow Six. Meanwhile, Korea is still trying to kind of make its rise and rear its head into the scene.
They definitely are, and I think that Cloud9 is definitely doing a good job at it right here. We didn't expect them to end as highly as they did, but they keep on surprising us every single play day, and now on the 2nd day of the major as well, where they've probably shown some of the strongest Rainbow Six over the past year. So it's definitely something that, you know, stands with me, and I'm thinking like, Giants, they look breakable at this moment in time, but if Cloud9 take this 2-0, they have a very good opportunity of winning the entire thing.
Well, obviously, we can't forget that Cyclops currently are leading here on Consulate, so we don't want to speak too soon about potential 2-0s. But regardless, we are finally back in the game. Ayagada is indeed with us as well, unless he is to drop out one more time, but don't expect that will happen.
Don't say that.
No, don't. Look, I'm saying it because...
Then it won't happen?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the strategy. And Cloud9 are going to be going to the one...
Attackers need to locate
not the
and
one
defuse
site they
as
haven't
many
been to,
bombs
actually,
as they
because they haven't
can.
been upstairs. But they're going to be heading over to the 1st floor for their lobby defense.
Lobby. Let's see. Evil Eye being deployed. It's going to be able to give them the information whether or not someone is planting in default. Potentially put up some Zets as well.
The location of a bomb.
Checking where the second one will be. It looks like it will be up here. Watching long desk, for example. Making sure that anybody moving through from the eastern side will be spotted out in time.
10 seconds.
And thus can be dealt with accordingly.
You can tell that Cloud9 are definitely playing a really heavy information game here, given that they have the Valkyrie, Maestro, and Pulse. And obviously, a lot of the time, we don't get to see Valkyrie on this map because she very frequently gets banned out because of the propensity of runouts. But not only that, it does look like they're setting up for potentially a yellow stairs hold, as well as the rotation is there in the private bathroom. And so Cloud9, they're going to have a lot of eyes on a lot of parts of the map. Oh. I just saw Hap hold out a bottle, and for some reason, I thought he was throwing water at me.
No,
I don't know why. I got
wasn't
really
throwing
worried.
water. No, it was there was something else. Never mind. Anyway, hey Gator, trying to take care of the black eye right there. That is stuck in the middle of the face of the statue. Not going to be able to find it yet, but they're definitely going to be aware of the fact that it will be there right now. Cyclops going to be the one that have to take back the momentum. As right there we see a flashbang being tossed in to check if there is any ADS available there. That's not the case, and thus the breaching round will follow. Taking out that evil eye, which would be giving out so much information to the players of Cloud9, where the plans and where the push could be coming from. As Anderson right now will be giving away his position onto the connector, masking the sound of that. He's ready to rappel up with some gunshots to make sure no one is going to be jumping out of that balcony window.
And while there's so many members of Cloud9 who are based up on the top floor, we of course have the poles down in the basement because you can look out for anyone who may be coming in laterally through the first floor. We did see Envy Taylor make a rotation down through once Black Ray started to move in, and you can actually see him moving up and down the yellow stairs still, and now Nova's going to be going down, which means no one is present there in meeting. Such a huge area of the map to gain control of if you want to be moving down into the lobby. Gatorada adding on to Cyclops' tally as Sweet Black goes down as well.
Shal did not see Black Ray arriving at the top of Spiral Stairs right here, and that means he is in danger. Also one below on the Visa Stairs. Now rappelling up on his window as well. He needs some help, and Envy Taylor is the one that has to provide him that as he gets stuck in the rotation hole. It seems like make his way through. One is on long desk. Are they aware? Phone call goes out. Doesn't spot the head, but Envy Taylor does and gets the kill into Black Ray. Starting things off in favor of Cloud9. No direct trade coming in this time, but he has to be careful. Shal might lose his head right here if he goes a bit too aggressive, but he will get the kill. Drop the diffuser as well. That's a huge one, but it doesn't really matter in the end. Envy Taylor gets that last kill. A headshot onto Galarada, and Cloud9 will be able to pick up their second round, drawing things up. But back in equal grounds, and only 2 more rounds left for Cloud9 on that defense.
Some beautiful shots there, especially from Envy Taylor, who was able to clear out that space from long desk and prevent there being any kind of a pressure onto him, which allowed him to move in and collapse in towards meeting where Xiao was, even when he got traded out because the diffuser was dropped there. Having that extra reinforcement in the form of Envy Taylor definitely finished things up there. And I think if he hadn't have been able to secure that headshot onto his enemy all the way down the other end of the corridor, it would have been so much harder for him to be able to even make that rotation in the first place. So it does look promising here for Cloud9, who've now been able to even out the score, something we were wondering when that was going to end up happening. And now the question is, are they going to start overtaking Cyclops, or are Cyclops going to claw their way back?
You get 2 rounds in a row now with a rehost in between. Is this going to be what they need to turn the momentum around and take the initiative themselves? English is really hard sometimes, but you know, you're going to have to do with it.
You have an excuse. It's not your first language.
I can always excuse myself as Shal putting down barbed wire, taking care of that plant as well. Doesn't really like that little tree. Destroys the pots for it. Some aggression that needs to go out.
I hate this
I hate
tree.
this plant. I hate that tree. Remove it from the game.
Yeah, and you can see the Sweet Black is also going to say, I hate this plant, as he places the yokais to prevent one.
I mean, I know a couple of people that are really fan of having plants in the rooms, and they would not be pleased with what they're seeing from Cloud9 right now. Just destroying every single plant they can see, as a spawn peek will be attempted. Sweet Black quickly goes off of it as he realizes he might have been a bit too late. Opening up the glass just to get some extra sound in case people would be rappelling up. Cyclops indeed are looking to go for a northwestern side take. Most likely focusing on yellow first and then put their pressure onto the actual bomb site itself.
That does mean Xiao is going to be placed there as well, and he'll be able to get aggressive if the attackers begin to move in. Logic Bomb's going to be kicking things off,
Rush.
but it looks like they're going to be going straight into the site. In goes the smoke, and not really anyone in a position to do anything about it. As soon as he straight away gets the plant down.
It's definitely a good round right here from Cyclops to go through. The Echo will be down. 1 kill coming through though for Cloud9. Jump outs are there. Harper will be able to get the kill onto Anaton. It's a 3-on-3 actually retake situation as Harper moves back up. They need to get this revive in. They need every single member they can find as they need to jump out these windows, walk out these doors, as they need to get the players on the rappel if they actually want to get this plan down. And you see 2 people right here onto the yellow stairs completely clueless on what to do as the smoke canisters are being tossed out. They're hoping to go for a bait here. Susa picks up one, will be not able to pick up the second one, and that means they can go for a run out right now, but the kill won't be coming through yet. Cyclops eventually, though, able to get this round through. It was a very quick rush, a very good call. The smoke canisters together with the phone call, enough to get that plan down.
The answer to the question that I set up was yes, Cyclops can prove that they can claw things back, and they do it with aggression that they lacked so much on Oregon, and this is what we've seen work for them really, really well.
Do they realize it themselves, though, that the aggression is the answer or the key to all their issues that they are having with Cloud9 right now? Because Cloud9, is, if they are given the time to play like how they want to play, then Cyclops is nowhere to be found.
Disappointing round there for Cloud9, but of course, it wasn't something that they were necessarily to foresee. They set up for the yellow stairs hold, which is kind of a more typical methodical way that you would see an attempt at a take from the attacking team, and rushes very rarely can be done twice in a row. Well, regardless, they're not going to be able to do it twice in a row the same anyway, because Cloud9 have decided to go all the way back down to the basement. And if we look so far, they were able to win it on round 3, but not back on round 1. Both times, Cyclops went for different approaches. On round 1, they decided to go for a relatively vertical approach, had a lot of pressure put on the public bathroom where Nova was hidden, and they didn't really spend much time on the garage door. The second time, in round 3, they brought along the Thatcher to get rid of any of that wall denial that was there. They opened the door very, very quickly, and they pushed in a slightly more standard way that you would expect. So this time, what are Cyclops going to be going for? Well, once again, they've decided to bring along the Dokkaebi, but they haven't brought a Thatcher to join in with the double hard breach.
They do, however, have that sledge available, and that would be really helpful if they manage to get it inside of the piano, just dealing with potentially the bandit player that could be going for some bandit tricks. But keep in mind, Gio, if Cloud9 manages to win this round, doesn't matter how, they're finding themselves in a very good position of getting themselves into that second half, potentially taking the lead straight away as the attack clearly favors them. So Cyclops, they need to make work out of this round. They need to get this one in if they want to push us to a third map.
Straight away, Black Ray is going to be holding on for the flank watch here on yellow stairs. Means Cloud9 can't push too far forward up there. They've just got to be sure that someone is ready to catch him out if he decides to push in. Especially as Black Ray is going to have to open up the floor here. That does mean that the control there will have to be relinquished. Once again, Nova can be found here in the bathroom. And as that sledge begins to move in, if he doesn't deal with him, he's going to find himself killed before he has the opportunity to even open up the floor.
Go through quickly, but that really stalled him down just that bit. All he has to do is really toss over a grenade and just to get that kill secured onto Nova. Where is he actually? Oh, he's going to get himself up into antechamber as Sledge is trying to put down some pressure from the hatch. He's finding himself deep inside a piano. Not really having a way out as the C4 there will be dealing a lot of damage to Black Ray. He's still alive. Will be called out by Sweet Black as he does have that pill still available.
Still all 10 members remaining. Black Ray having taken a decent chunk of damage, and Nova not yet been moved out of his position. But this could be the chance. Not quite, though, as the nade doesn't land on him, and he's going to throw out one of those smoke canisters to prevent any entrance in from the door. Meanwhile, work is being done elsewhere, as you can hear the X-Kairos opening up the wall and forcing him to rotate on down, killing Black Ray on his way, but Envy Taylor's going to be going down to Aniton.
Indeed, will be going down, and that leaves us in a 4-on-4 situation with 44 seconds left. Flashbangs being tossed out. Push from the yellow stairs needs to come through. We'll be able to take down at least one of the bandit batteries, allowing the termite to open up. Panel 1. I'll be giving them line of sight over the black car, potentially able to use that to secure themselves a entry into the garage. As Agate is still upstairs right here, playing from that hatch. Will have to find himself another way down, as he will be joining Aniton as he descends into these spiral steps. Flashbangs being tossed in, smoke canisters as well, but they have to phase an M59 shotgun. As Shal will be able to pick up 1 kill, 2 kills, 3 kills potentially. No, the last one will fail to go for it. Gatorada goes for a trade, and eventually it's Sweet Black and Nova to finish it off. Cloud9 will be able to win round number 6, and that means we are 3-3. And that also means Cloud9 have the opportunity to bring it back and take the initiative on the attack.
3-3 at the half, certainly not a bad place to be in, given that Cloud9 were on their weaker side and the weaker side for this map. And now we are about to see them move into the place where they're going to feel the most confident. And this should be where we start to see magic be made by Cloud9. Obviously, there's still the chance that Cyclops can pull this back in their favor and take it to a map 3, but right now it doesn't look like mathematically it's in their favor.
It's looking pretty cloudy for Cyclops, I have to say.
Oh, good one. How long did it take you to come up with that?
I've had it in my head for a long while, but I never actually managed to get an opportunity.
That's hilarious.
I just held on to the joke. But Cyclops, are you going to be able to get the control back? Are you going to be able to take the lead back? Take the initiative straight away. Show that your defense is impenetrable. Will Cloud9 prove that their attack is indeed one of the best in the region, and something that Cyclops has to worry about for the remainder of this match?
Well, Cloud9 here are going to be setting things up for a relatively standard attack. They've brought the Thatcher and they're bringing the Thermite. Suggests that they want to be going in straight for that garage wall. And one of the things that you have to bear in mind about Cloud9 is the fact that when you have Harper and Nova working together, there is a synergy between them that is always incredibly enjoyable to watch. On pretty much any map that you've seen this team play on the attack, Harper and Nova are like dancing a dance together to their own tune. And they're always very swift and decisive with what it is they do together. When you have them working like that, they could get the door open very, very early, very quickly, open up those channels of ingress there for someone like Envy Taylor or Sweet Black or Xiao, who can move in, be aggressive, and take the site swiftly.
I like how Cyclops instantly realized that it is not beneficial to bring a Kaid in this case. If the Thatcher will be brought, the Electric Claws will not be holding off on that garage wall too long. You will have to rely on the good old bandit tricking, hoping that you will juggle it just in time. And with that comes the piano control. So you have that one yokai ready there to give the information to the bandit, just to say there's still no pressure, you don't have to worry about a thing, as they try to keep that wall closed for as long as they possibly can.
I really enjoy that yokai position that was here in pianos. Of course, you do expect Sweet Black to be heading on in there to try and open up the floor and provide the vertical pressure down into the site. Although here it does look like Cloud9 are potentially going in for a slightly more unorthodox way in, unless they make a later rotation to move back towards the garage door. They are heading on in there, and as you correctly do say there, Gatorada present here in the bathroom with the rotate down through the hatch available to him can work behind his mirror window, which will make it so much harder for Cyclops to take Cloud9 to take the space that they want.
It definitely does, but you got to keep in mind there's still one grenade left in the hands of Sweet Black, and if he realizes someone is actually playing inside of this bathroom here, we might see one of these grenades to be tossed over, as there is no mirror window actually holding off into piano. So no information there for Gatorada to play with, and look at that, the mirror window is basically completely already taken out, as Envy Taylor keeps on peppering in these shots as he is on the rappel. Right now they're starting to move in from the piano side, the pressure is coming soon, as Gatorada's also feeling that one. Knows one is on top of his main door right here, the double door, hoping to hold them off for as long as he can, and he has to hold off for longer because 55 seconds left and the grenade is being cooked. It comes in right here, but not able to find the kill as it drops through the floorboards.
And Gatorada as well wasn't able to land the kill, even though he directly saw the member of Cloud9 who was facing straight in on him. Garage door has been open, and even though the smoke canisters are going to deter the push in, Cloud9 do have that set up for themselves. And Anakin is so far back as well. Once the door was open, unable to do the bandit trick, suddenly meant that he was significantly weakened. Shell holding onto the stairs as Nova's going to go in for the plant, and he has plenty of protection here, and Cyclops have to move forward.
They have to move forward indeed, but the plant's already gone down to 3 members all outside now, and this is a very rough retake here for the likes of Cyclops. They do have the man advantage, but there's 3 people outside holding every single angle they can get onto that diffuser, making sure that these jump outs will not be giving them any kill or any opportunity of getting that defuse going. 25 seconds left. The mirror will be finding himself in the the top floor as she tries to get a peek down, but the head will be taken off not quite cleanly as the defuse in the meantime is already going through. Suzu trying to get it stuck as BlackRay able to pick up a kill. There we go. There it is. The double kill to come through. Harper to pick up the last two. Cloud9 to win the round and show that their attack is indeed something to be afraid of.
A game of patience and false security there at the end as they allowed CAG to believe that they could disable the diffuser, but so naive, so sweet. Cloud9 thought as they came in and secured the kill. Why have they both got to begin with a C? It's so irritating. I'm looking over at Derry and he's nodding in agreement. He's like, yeah. Especially as in my notes as I'm writing down who's winning the rounds. I can't just write C for the team because
you
that
normally
could be
just
anyone.
write one letter?
Yeah, I usually do. I just write the initials. Yeah, I don't have time to write a full
Have you ever tried making
team
two
name.
columns and you just said X's?
No, because that means I have to draw a whole extra column.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, you could just divide the column into two with one extra line.
Listen, I didn't ask for your column drawing advice, Hap. I would appreciate it if you didn't bring it here. We are going to be heading over to the top floor site as Cyclops are once again in the position where they want to be clawing their way back to a potential win. Not really standing up all that well to that aggressive push in there from Cloud9, who were able to successfully protect the plant and take up a lot of space that even if Cyclops were to push up incredibly aggressively, they still would have been massively outnumbered in the endeavor. So the question is, are they going to be able to do it successfully here? Bringing similar operators, obviously not going for the wall denial upstairs, but they do have the Echo once again, as well as a Valkyrie too to provide some of that extra information. As we see that Black A get tossed outside, it's going to give them a little bit of an idea as to where Cloud9 come in from.
That Black Eye might be more important than you think because it's going to be feeding directly information into that western side rappel. And now, if you saw correctly, the middle wall and connector has been opened up completely, and we see an APAC playing inside of the projector room. Now, you do not want to play on that angle the entire time as Nova gets the first kill into AA Gator. So I was going to say that camera is going to be feeding information inside of Anaton's brain to make sure that he knows when he has to peek. But if you're losing your smoke player already within 30 seconds, that's no impact on whatsoever. Shal, however, just returns the favor as he double impacts himself, removes himself from the board, and we're back in a 4-on-4.
Definitely not a good situation there for Cloud9, but you did hit the nail on the head in that losing your smoke that early is massively detrimental, especially on a site like this. But look, Nova's going to be going down early as well. Suzu Z gets traded out, and Sweet Black adds on to the tally. Just Aniton and Gatorada remain, but make that just Aniton.
Make that no one.
Make that no one.
That was a quick round.
Exactly, as that was very quick there. Cloud9 just moving in. It didn't matter that they didn't have Xiao. All they had to do was just be like, pew.
What was that sound? Were you trying to like...
I don't know. What noise does a gun make?
What, not... First of all, not pew. It's more of a loud noise. But it doesn't matter. It's 3-5. And this is exactly what we said before. The attack of Cloud9 is something to be afraid of. And Cyclops is now rightfully so experiencing that. They're really looking back in the rounds now that they lost and realizing, we might have needed an extra 1 or 2 to give ourselves some extra margin, because right now Cloud9 yet again 1 round away. This time not just map point, but also series point.
Yeah, this is the decider as to whether or not they are going to be heading over to the grand finals.
Put 1 leg in, just, you know, almost with the second
They are
leg
so close, and Cyclops are watching it slip through their fingers as time goes on. They know they're on the back foot here, and they know they don't have another chance after this map is over. They've really, really got to pull it out here. And of course, losing someone like your smoke that early, but also not being able to hold your own in an aggressive gunfight is not going to set you up for greatness. Even if they were to go through to the grand finals, that's something that they would definitely have to pull together. So, on to the 3rd round here on this half, otherwise known as round 9. They're going to be going back upstairs once again. And I think a lot of this is to do with the fact that they know that they lost that, not because of their overall strategy, but because of very small things that happened at the start, or very big things in the case of the loss of the smoke. Straight away, you're on the back foot when that happens to you, and you don't even have the opportunity to carry out your strategy.
Well, you would say that indeed, like, the smoke was very impactful, but in the other hand, it was just people fragging out super quickly right afterwards. And you might say, how much could the smoke have changed in that situation with the amount of time that was left? 2 minutes 30 left, still shields being set up as Nova is already inside break room here. Just saw that shield popping up, so now someone is most likely playing right beside it. As we'll be using a termite charge right there onto the break room wall. It's a bit of a connector piece, giving him an extra rotation possibility. I'm not sure. I mean, where else are you going to be using your termite charge? So I guess in that case, it's justified.
Use it wherever your heart desires, but yeah. Still, it's looking a little bit better here for Cyclops. 2 minutes remaining, so not too far into the round, and there's still time for Cloud9 to do what they need to do. Xiao's just getting ready to hop onto the balcony and be able to deal in those lifelines. Of course, there is a Yokai not too far away, and Ayagator as well, which makes it a bit riskier, but he can't hide behind that table, which has already been opened up. This is where Xiao begins to move in. And he's just getting prepared. If he can catch one of these angles and catch a key player from Cyclops, is going to significantly weaken them as they head into the latter half of this round. And that's exactly what happens. Ayagator, you should have expected someone on that window. You can't just run through that door like that, my dude, because that is what happens.
There we go, another kill to come through. But this one is actually in the favor of Cyclops, as Anaton able to pick up the kill onto NV Taylor. Cloud9, however, do not have to deal with any of the smoke canisters anymore, and with 1 minute left on the clock, that's definitely a breather that they will have, quite literally. They're not breathing in any toxins. As Nova, in the meantime, already going down with their plans, will be stunned out for just a little bit. It's going to be 3 drones left alive, and Alexa Cloud9 as they pick up yet another kill, and we keep on counting down as there's only 2 members left on the likes of Cyclops. And as I say that, of course, it's going to be 1. It's only up to Suzu now. Spots are coming through. They know exactly where he is. The plan's gone down. 40 seconds on the clock for a 1v3 retake. He'll be able to spot that one, but not get the kill quite down yet. The SMG is empty. Needs to go for the reload. He's going to be able to at least get the spots down, but he's not going to be given any angle onto the termite player whatsoever, who goes for the peak right now. A lot of time being wasted right here in this gunfight, as neither of them are going to be able to pick up the kill. The punch will eventually in the desk will land out that kill. It's Cloud9 to go to match series point right now. Just one more round, and they secure themselves a 2-0. A very comfortable 2-0, even though the first half might not have looked like it.
Victory is just in their sights now, and it was a really unfortunate position there for Suzuzi at the end, and of course, with not a very large magazine there on the SMG-11, have to spend more time reloading than actually taking shots, and it does make you incredibly vulnerable.
The reload does take longer, indeed, than if your whole life mouse button is done within half a second, then you need to go for a second reload.
It really does take a while.
Yeah.
But it does now mean that Cloud9, as you say, are on map, match, and semi-final point. And this is the one round they have to win if they are to move on forward to the grand finals, where, of course, we would see them face off against Giants, who had that exceptional game earlier against Xavier. So, where is it the Cyclops are going to be going? Looks like they're going to be heading into lobby. Not necessarily the usual site that someone would pick as their primary. And when I say primary, the reason I say that is because you would think that if the stakes are this high and you're on match point like this, you want to go to the site that you're going to feel the most comfortable on.
They didn't win a single one yet, so which one would you be feeling most comfortable?
Well, this is yeah, right.
So they might be just trying to go for like the off pick, something that maybe Cloud9 is not too prepared attacking. Often the tertiary bomb side is the one that has the highest win rate, mind you, and that is due to the fact that it doesn't get played as often. So it might be what Cyclops need to get that round in, that so important round, put themselves up to 4, maybe turn around the momentum in that case, but it is swinging heavily inside of Cloud9's favor right now. They managed to get, I believe that was 6 rounds in a row. No, not 6 rounds. I'm lying in this case. 5 or 4 rounds in a row right now. So it's been a while since Cyclops have seen their name on the scoreboard as a win.
Cloud9 bringing a pretty good lineup here. Once again, seeing that Capitan, which can be used to flush out those defenders, so many of which have been selected to specifically try and stunt the swiftness of a potential push made by the attackers. Obviously, the information game that can be gained from the Pulse, the Mirror, the Valkyrie, the Alibi, and the Legion. Oh, would you look at that? That's absolutely everyone on the team. That's all Cyclops want because they need it as much as they can get. But the question is, can Cloud9's aggression and their coordination be enough to bring down all 5 of those members?
This is also the round where they've chosen to not go for the actual Echo, as the impact right there will be making sure that there's no more cover behind the table. And it's going to be dealing quite some damage to Anaton as well. He's going to have to worry about his life right now. Doesn't have much cover left inside of Projector Room. And he's also not aware of the fact that any of the Cloud9 players might be close to him in the administration office. Hey, Gator on his drone. Checking out the black eye cam, just seeing if he can find anything, as he's seeing sees an EP just tossing through from the bottom floor. And that means that Black Ray's in a very crucial position right now.
Look at this. He's so close to them as well. Do they know where he is? Right now, it doesn't seem as such, as they're not moving in. It's got to be Harper who is getting that kill on him. And as you say, C4 gone, but there's going to be a couple of kills coming out there from Cyclops. Shell turns things round there onto Gatorada, but it does mean it's a 3 versus 3.
It is indeed a 3v3, 60 seconds left, and as one gets killed, it's Anaton to pick up yet one kill, but there comes a kill from Sweet Black. Envy Taylor follows up as well, and that means it's all up to Gator now. 50 seconds on the clock. Cloud9 is 1 kill removed from reaching the finals against Giants. They're the number 1 and 2. Are they going to be making it, or will Gator pull out some hero clutch right here? He gets spotted out. Envy is in sight. He will get that kill, and it's Cloud9 to push themselves up to 2-0 with another 7-3 to come down, and they are finding themselves in the grand finals tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. What I'm saying is Sunday even. They have a lot of time to prepare for Giants.
We said at the beginning, Hap, of that map that it looked potentially like this could be Cyclops bringing it in, but no. Cloud9, they proved that they chose that map for a reason. They